Hi, Mike again from bookup.com. Let's dive right into it. The new version of Chess Openings Wizard Express just came out. This is the April 2026 update. And let's demonstrate some of the features we've stolen from the professional version. I'm going to create a new ebook, and I'm calling it My Plans for Black. And since they're My Plans for Black, when I move it down here, I'm going to flip the board with a command here to say not white at bottom, black at bottom. My plans for black are to play the French defense. So if he plays e4, I'm going to play e6. And when he plays d4, I'll play d5. I've been having trouble recently with the advanced variation. So he plays here, I know to play c5. And generally they'll play here. Now, this is what we're going to get to. What if I have two plans for my side? So for instance, I will play knight c6 against players stronger than 2000. And I will play queen b6 against players weaker than 2000. So let's back up again. Let's take a look at the knight c6 lines first. So here we generally see knight f3. At this point it may transpose. So I'll play queen b6, and white, if he knows what he's doing, will put the bishop on d3. I know that pawn on d4 is not really hanging, even though I have three things attacking it, because I'll lose a queen if I go and get that thing. So I play bishop d7. So this is the end of my preparation for this demo, right? Let's go back to the place where I would have played queen b6 instead. And let's say he plays knight f3 here. What happens when I drop my knight on c6? What do you think happens? If you use Chess Openings Wizard, you know exactly what happens. The very instant that knight drops, boom, there's a T that says this is a transposition. And it shows me the moves in this position. It's just as if we came at it from the other move order. This will be important later on. So now I have a repertoire set up. Let's rewind it and get to what we're really going to talk about, which is training. Let's go to the training window. And let's just break it all down. There is a drop down here for three different ways the training wizard can play against us. It can play randomly. It can play randomly, but with a way that it will cover the entire database after a while. Or the default, and probably the one you want, is sequential with coverage. So what does sequential with coverage mean? It means sequentially, whenever it comes to a position for your opponent, it's going to play the first move, the first time you train. Then it'll go on to the second candidate move and the third candidate move, because by convention, the best move should be at the top of your candidate list for each position. So that's what sequential coverage means. Then, which side does the computer play? It can play white, it can play black. At this point, I want it to play white because I'll be playing the black pieces. I can have it play both sides and animate the whole book. That's always fun. And have it do not play either side, making me test myself on the knowledge for both sides. That's also interesting. But I'll just leave it so the computer plays white and I'll play the black side. After training, where do I rewind to train more? I can go back to the starting position, which is the most common setting, right? But what if I'm deep in some variation where I don't have to keep rewinding to the starting position? I want it to rewind where training began. So if I started right in some middle game or some new line I just added, set it there. Or I can have it go back to the last branch and we can go on to another part of that last branch. This is where some people get confused in the inner row to complete setting. By default, it's set to 3, which means I need to play the current move this many times, 3 times in a row to complete training for this position, just like that little hint says. So I can set it to 4 or 5 if I want to have like a woodpecker method or something, but I'll set it to 3 for now. But if I'm just playing e4, e6, d4, d5, I know those moves by rote. I wish I could get credit for, complete training credit for those moves as long as I play them correctly the first time. That's what this setting does. It gives me a first time credit of 3. I have that matching, right? So I can just get credit for the first time if I play it correctly. Here I can force the computer to play the top candidate, which basically confines it to only the best moves, so I can learn the best moves first if I'm training a new repertoire. And as the user, I can force myself to play the top candidate if there are multiple candidates. I'll leave those both unchecked. And then I have all kinds of messages that pop up during training that I may want just to skip and keep training as fast as it can without having to show me all those little windows, like whether or not I played a move that's not a candidate or whether there are no more candidates in the line, explaining why it's actually going to rewind. I'll just have it rewind automatically if I turn those messages off. And I have it to hide information because I don't want to see the dots and the arrows and the comments and the candidate moves while I'm training, because that's cheating. I want to have no hints, right? And then there are more settings once it starts training. But the final one is all user candidate moves must be trained. This is new and just ripped from the professional version. So the professional version also has this now. And what this means is if I have those two lines, like that knight c6 line and queen b6 line, it will now not just give me credit if I play either one, it'll make me go back and play both lines from my side. to consider it be fully trained. And then finally, if I were just trying to learn the first 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 moves of my opening, or new to me an opening anyway, I would click on here to limit the training to move number and then set the move number. And by default, set to 9. But I'll leave that unchecked so it goes as deep as it can. And then down here, if I want more information about all these settings, click on the Get Help Online button and read the help online. I'll click Start to start training. He plays E4. I'll play E6. D4. I'll play D5. He's playing that advanced variation. I know to play C5. He plays here. I know to play Knight C6. When he plays there, I know to bring my queen out. More pressure on D4. He plays there. I know not to grab D4, but to play Bishop D7. And here's one of those messages. There are no candidate moves in this line. No more candidate moves anyway. Do I want to just stop here or continue training? Let's continue training. Done. And I'll take a look at these buttons I talked about. Now that's hiding all the information has a button to stop training, which will just stop training and won't give you credit. This one will complete the training. This one will say if I'm deep in a line and I just say, hey, I think I know it, or I just don't want to train anymore for this line, go on to the next one, I'll say complete training. It'll mark this line as complete and keep going. This shows how complete my training is. If I had 3 to move to correct, it'd be like 1, 2, and 3 on that bar if it actually gets that far. And then how fast am I training? I can train faster and increase that speed. Then, of course, there's a blindfold mode, which will turn everything off and force me to make the moves without seeing the pieces, if you're a fan of blindfold chess. So here I'll just play E6, and there, he plays the advance. I'll play C5, he plays C3, and now I play Knight C6. But now, it says this move is already trained. Play another move. This is the function ripped from the professional version. So now that you can practice more than one repertoire inside your repertoire. So if I do that, what else was I supposed to play? Oh, Queen B6. It does that. Why did it complete training immediately? Why didn't it make me play Knight C6 and play and Bishop D7? Because Queen B6 transposed to the earlier lines where training is already complete. This is the only training system on the planet that is positional, so it will not waste your time with transpositions. There you go. So 100% trained, and 10 new positions were added to training this session. So 10 training positions today. But what if over the next year, let's say 365 days, but you could only do this maybe 300 days and took 65 days off. But each of those 300 days, you only added 3 positions. Not the 10 we added today, but just 3 positions to your repertoire, wherever you got them, from an online study or from a book you're reading. Just 3. At the end of that quick year, which will go by quickly, you will now know 900 additional opening positions. How much stronger would you be if at the end of the year you knew 900 additional opening positions? And I know that some of you go-getters are thinking, no, I'm going to do 10 positions a day and be 3,000 positions stronger. Well, that's exactly what you should be doing with your Chess Openings Wizard Express. So if you don't own Chess Openings Wizard Express, where have you been? This is the tool. This is the best money you're ever going to spend on a piece of software. It's absolutely guaranteed. If you don't own it, go to bookup.com/express, sign up, and get to work. So the feature you just saw is available, of course, in the Windows version and the Macintosh version and the Android version and the iPhone version and the iPad version. You have no excuse. So the features you just saw have just been added this April 2026 to all those platforms. So go in, get your upgrade, get your update. If it's free, if you've bought in the last 2 years, it should be free to you. Or if you don't own it, bookup.com/express, and I'll be happy to welcome you to the Bookup family.